Holy fucking shit, this is TrumpsWeapon.com. And look at this shit. There's a man here in Eugene, Oregon with the motherfucking piano. He's homeless and he's actually just... Somehow he got his fucking piano. It's fucking a full-size one. Down here by the fucking library. And he just fucking plays it. And it's like 11:35 at night. And there's a dude with some other musical instrument on the other side of the piano. And this is like, there's so many fucking homeless people in this fucking town. Look at all these children. These children, as far as I know, every one of them's fucking homeless. Including that woman who's got her tits out. But yeah, man, this is fucking the crazy fucking shit. Eugene is fucking insane. Eugene, Salem, Portland have children. They're young adults all over the streets homeless. No housing at all. This couple of blocks here, like this is LTD bus station. This group is usually in the size of between 20 and 50 to maybe 100 people. And tonight it's a little smaller. But they congregate all right there. And then there's some way down the street at various places. You can find them all over under doorways next to the party area where the pizza place is at. They'll sit there with like instruments, not like this guy who's got a big piano, but they've played all night. And it's insane because there's this, I mean, I guess there's 4.6 million homeless young adults in a 12-month period. And these are fucking young adults, man. And they don't get lives except to be homeless fuckers on the street. A lot of it all started, and I was like up in Portland, where, you know, dude, there's so many people passed out in the streets. There's women topless. They're changing their shirts in public. They're pissing, they're shitting in public everywhere. And don't even get bathrooms, man, or any place to clean. And there's no homeless shelters for these people. There's no apartments. There's nothing for them. They can't get themselves together because the system actually is designed to cut as much money off from people as possible. They cut money off for people who have legal problems and the government's trying to kill. They don't get a lawyer. When they were younger, they had no health care because there was no insurance provided. Their parents were struggling to pay their rent and they went homeless a lot. They went hungry without food. They had no car. They had nothing. The government is ran by Republicans that set all these policies up. Started with Richard Nixon, really, and Ronald Reagan especially. Ronald Reagan did the biggest hit. $1.6 billion cut per year plus. So, yeah, when Ronald Reagan did that shit, immediately after 1981, when the cuts hit, a spike of like 20%, I guess, of, it's either 20% increased homeless population size, or it was like 20% of who was affected became homeless. I think that's actually the number. So 20% of those who received welfare cuts became homeless, including children. And all the children, their Medicaid was cut, so they grew up with no health care. So they were both homeless and without health care. So they grew up 10, 20 years, no health care. Never got to see a doctor. Never got to see a dentist. Never got to see a psychologist. Never got, you know, nothing. It's just fucked up as shit. Eventually, thanks to Barack Obama, we now have Medicaid in most states again. But since 1981, we didn't. And there was an increase in the amount of children on Medicaid in 1997 because there was a bill passed called Healthy Kids, but it was only a small amount of kids that got Medicaid. That was a whole, 16 years with no Medicaid. And then for the rest of them that didn't get insurance, they had to wait 16 more years after that for Obamacare to kick in. It's really sad. That sounds like a 30-year period of no health care for most kids. For many kids. In Oregon, back in like 2004, 2003, they did a census on children without health insurance. It was like 400,000. And Oregon doesn't have a big population, so that's a huge amount. And I was one of those kids the whole time. I had health insurance here and there. depending on what my dad had for a job. But all my family worked, and most of them didn't have health insurance that was reliable. And the other thing about it, most of the time when you had insurance from your employer, it wasn't even the quality stuff. It barely covered shit. So that just means that even the insured were not really insured. So they would go without health care too. And they had systems of eliminating health care coverage from people. You know, pre-existing conditions was a reason people couldn't get insurance. So if you had like a huge list of anything that ever happened to you, you couldn't get insured. Really fucked up. That meant no health care. But anyway, it's a big fucked up system that's why there's so many homeless people today. Because the rate of homelessness, just every decade, it increases more and more. Because since the 80s, when welfare was destroyed, just people lose all their, basically they've been draining their resources. So every decade, more and more generations are going, boom, homeless, less healthcare than ever before. And plus the policies, the Republicans have been getting tighter and tighter that whole time. And new laws have been getting passed that mess it up even more. Wages getting lower, prices getting jacked up on everything, monopolies getting bigger. Every time you see companies merge, that's the Republicans merging their companies and creating super monopolies that they control exclusively. So then there's no more competition and no more price competition or anything. And also the choice of products, technology is withheld. It never comes to the market, all sorts of problems. And also the media, they've all merged into one basically. Actually, there's something like six companies that now own all the media. You can't get the story anymore because 6 people own the whole thing. 6 companies, and they say, no, we're not going to let the American people get the news anymore. Instead, you get fake drivel in its place. So that way you can't really unite on issues, and you can't fight them. You don't have any media, so you can get messages to other people might support you. You don't have any money to pay, all sorts of stuff.